Help me ducks, welcome to the Hermit's Cave. How is everybody doing? It's lovely to see everybody in the chat. I was quite chilled out and relaxed with that music. I could have listened to it all night. How lovely is that one? Have we all got a cuppa? Let's see who's in the chat. So first one in was our Marilyn. Hello, Marilyn. I'm just going to pop the comments open on there as well. And then Lily Rose. Hello, Lily Rose. And Kathy. Hi, Kathy. We've got Trio of Witches. Hello. Esco. Hello. Our Sandra. Hi, Sandra. We also have the lovely Saskia and Rachel and Elspeth. Hello. Ramon's here. Hi, Ramon. Lovely to see you. How are you doing? We have Argil. Nice to see you. And Joe. Hello, Joe. Fireside chat. Nice to see you. Cup of cacao. Some oatmeal. Taking a break. Nice to have you with us while you're taking a break. And Chris. Hello, Chris. How are you? We've got Sarah and Trisha. Hello, Trisha. Michelle. Hello, Michelle. Akai. Jen's here. Hi, Jen. Nice to see you. Christine. First, CC&C. Well, welcome. It's lovely to have you with us. Let's see. Artemis. Hello, Artemis. English Witch. Hello. Ferdiad's here. Hi, Ferdiad. Want to miss anyone? Vintage Moon. Hello. That's Sissy. Nice to see you. Misty and Kathy. A raspberry Sprite from Popeyes. I only ever went to Popeyes once, and that was to get biscuits and gravy because everybody was talking about them and they were gross. And then when I was in New York, I found out what proper biscuits and gravy was, and it was nothing like it. It was amazing. Adam's here. Hello, Adam. Nancy. Hi, Nancy. The lovely Kate is here. It's been a while, but I'm thrilled to be here. It's lovely to have you with us. Forever Aware After. Jennifer. Shanda. Nice to see you. So I've got to the bottom. Yeah, how's everybody doing? So Chris has got his raspberry Sprite. I've seen that advertised on TV. It does sound nice. I'm a cherry infused person, but raspberry Sprite sounds quite nice. Popeyes always thumbs down, but husband loves. Yeah, I mean, I've never, whilst I've been on Slimming World anyway, I've never eaten in there. I tend to try and avoid. I like Jollibees, or did. I haven't had one of them for about 2 years, but Jollibees are really nice. And in the city, it's just outside, actually, right outside this building. You've got Popeyes on one corner and Jollibees on the other. And I think if I had to make that choice, I'd probably go to Jollibees. Simon, the shelves are looking good. Yeah, I just feel like you could ask me now, where's such and such a deck? And I could just turn around and grab it. Oh, you're asking about the folkloric forest, are you? And it's just here in front of the Lonely Dreamer Tarot in my beautiful deck section. Or my Italian decks. It's just nice having an order to them. And it seems to have set. I've just been in Robin's chat. I had to come away a little bit early because I looked and it was after 1:45, and I'd go live 5 minutes before just for people to kind of come in. Well, and that's when I play the music. And I was like, I haven't made a drink yet. I haven't done this yet. And So, but it seems to be catching on. I've seen Sandra's been doing some decluttering. Becca's been doing some decluttering. Robin has started going through shelf at a time, which was fun. Because I think we all face the same dilemmas, don't we? Which is like, do we really want to let this deck go? And like Chris and I used to do Throwback Thursdays. And what I loved about that was a deck that you might not have used for a while, you worked with for like, well, I'm sure Chris, I think, was the same. At least like a week before we went live to do the throwback, we'd get to know the deck again and work with it. And it was a great way to rotate and get old decks out. And doing what I did last week, really, I had to make a real conscious choice of, okay, is that staying on these shelves? These are the decks that I want near me. I mean, I've always had my like 30 plus decks in, where I can grab them in little cubicles like pigeonholes and things like that for decks that I mean grab, me go-tos. But do I want it to be here? Do I want them neatly in the back room so they're not too far away and they're not, stacked away? Or am I really not going to work with this deck for the foreseeable and therefore it can go into a container? And Robin was doing a similar thing. He was going through each deck and saying, if I haven't really worked with this for a year, do I really want to keep it? I still got the dilemma of those that are in the tubs. Do I want to let go or do I want to keep them in a bit? So the decision I made there is they're not going anywhere for at least a year. Case in point, I did a trade with Sandra this week, and I'll show that deck in a little while. And I was thinking of some decks that she might be interested. So I was able to go into that walk-in storage room, open a couple of the containers and pull some out and say, what about this one? Whereas I wouldn't be able to do that if they were gone, And then I met another friend for a coffee on Thursday, I want to say. I think it was Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. Wednesday, it was Wednesday. I met him for a coffee. And he actually brought along, I was really glad he did. He brought along the 3rd edition of El Goliath. And I'd got the 1st edition and the 2nd edition. And I've been debating about, because they're going smaller in size every time, from the 1st edition to the 2nd edition to the 3rd. But actually, when I held them in my hands, I was like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. So that was useful. But I met him for coffee and I sold 2 decks. So decks are going out that I think, yeah, actually. And somebody gave a good suggestion saying, well, what about your backups and things like that? So both decks that I'd sold, I'd got other versions of. And with Sandra, I traded 2 out, 1 in, although she was very sweet. And I'll show you this now. She said, I want it to be a fairer trade. So she gifted me this beautiful, beautiful piece of malachite. Do you see that? How gorgeous that is? It's a lovely piece of malachite. And she knows it's one of my favourite crystals. So anyway, I've been neglecting the comments. So let me have a look at the comments. Where do we get up to? We got up to Popeyes, didn't we? We were talking about food. Daughter's allergic to cherries. Wow. Sharon, Trio, you're called Sharon. My sister's called Sharon. I enjoyed the organising video. Let's test him. What are you testing me on? Oh, if I can put my hand on a deck. Very inspired by the decluttering video. Very honest and forthright. It's the only way to be, isn't it? Simon, where's such and such a deck? I've seen you getting frustrated on a spotlight video. I got frustrated on a spotlight video. I knew you were about to start decluttering those shelves. It's so annoying. I'm in the process of doing that now. Yeah, but The thing with Spotlight is I've got kind of like an unwritten agreement with Cheryl. I think she's only sending me decks that she thinks I'll enjoy. And B, she always says at the end of Spotlight to me afterwards, so which ones you keeping and which ones you letting go? So, you know, she's happy for me to pass them on if it's something that I really don't want to keep. Your decks can breathe now. They aren't all fighting for attention. Where's Moon Baby? I will tell you exactly where Moon Baby is, because Moon Baby is with my RWS section, which is in this one here. And if I stand up, I have both Moon Babies. See, I can grab them. Isn't it good? Did I pass the test? Where did I go? It's jumped now. Where did I get up to? Moon Baby, didn't I? Yeah, where's Moon Baby? It's kind of weird seeing them so empty. I have got one empty space just here behind my name. Say my name, say my name. I need to clean up my tarot shelves. Where's Shimmering Veil gone? I always see that deck straight away. So Shimmering Veil is with all my Silicon Way decks. So they're all together. You can't... I'm trying to think if you could see it, but you probably can't. You can see up to there, can't you? Yeah, so all Silicon Ways are in there. Oh, Cheryl's here. Hi, Cheryl. Nice to see you. Simon managed to let go of 10 decks. Wow, that's good. Out of how many? How many was on that shelf, Robin? You've started a trend, Simon. It's a lot of work to rehome decks. It really is. Simon's a trendsetter. Simon maybe do it, but for decluttering. Yeah, and that's like in reverse, isn't it? Because everybody says Simon made me do it for bringing decks in. But imagine now if I started a trend of letting decks go, purging. I haven't purged though, really, have I? Let's be honest. They're still there. They're just in a different location. Hello, Tammy Pie. Nice to see you. I would love to see Throwback Thursdays. Yeah, I mean, we ought to think about getting because when we did it for the second time, Chris and I sat and thought about some good decks. So we had about 6. We thought, well, that will cover the next 6 months. But Chris is also, because we used to use Thursday night, and Chris is also doing his sip and sling, and he's got his invited guests on and things like that as well. But and we can't really do it on another day because the whole thing is Throwback Thursday. But we might slot one in every so often as a bit of a throwback to Throwback Thursday. Anne, hello, Anne. Testing. Can you pull out Stella's tarot, or is she in the back room, or horrors in the storage bin? Stella's tarot. Stella's tarot. Stella who? Hey, Cheryl. Meraki arrived today. Isn't it a gorgeous deck? Everybody's getting their Merakis, which is wonderful. I saw Becca show her Meraki. Arthurian this week. Haven't used it for a while, but that's such a great one. Yeah. So all my Arnatorian decks are there. Would love the first edition of our Goliath. How many decks are in the tubs? There's probably about 600, I think. But there's also those boxes that are in the middle room that I've got to go through. So yeah, because there's around 200 and something decks here, probably about 150 decks in the back room, I think, maybe a little bit less now, 125. So this week I've worked with two new a golden oldie, Forest of Enchantment Tarot, and a new stripped down modern one, Tarot by the Neon Light. Love them both. It's going to be a while before I have enough deck to even think about decluttering. In this crowd, my collection looks positively dainty. Give it time, Kathy. Give it time. Mine did too once. Once a year, every so often, on my, you get your Facebook memories. In fact, it must have just passed and I've not seen it because it was in August of 2016. Could even be today. I've not checked them yet. There's a photograph that I put on Facebook, and it's a collection, and most of them are oracles. It's a collection of about that many decks, all lined up just on top of a table with a nice cloth and a crystal. And there was angel blessings. There was a couple of Barbara McLeod decks. There was, I think, Whispers of Lord Ganesha, a Doreen Virtue deck, an RWS, I think Tarot Apocalypsis, because that was my second tarot, and my Soul cards 1 and 2. And that was my entire collection. Every time it comes up, I think, wow. And then it's better now, but and I was like, that was just 2016. Trying to find Moon Baby Tarot on Spotlight. Oh, yes. Yeah. And it's, when if I'm recording a video and I'll say something like, oh, this reminds me of, and then I turn around thinking, I know where that is. It's in here. And I can't find it. And I'm like, oh, I can't find it. And when, Chris will confirm, I can remember once, maybe even twice, in such a blind panic before, and not like right before, but like a day or two before. If I've had a really busy week and I've not had time to work with a deck before throwback, I was messaging Chris saying, I can't find the deck that we're doing this week. What are we going to do? And I think didn't once we have to come up with a different deck until I could find it, and then we did it the next month. Oh dear. Well done, Simon. You're saying well done because I found the Moon Baby. Simon, did you find the golden? Yes, I did. So this is kind of like my study esoteric-ish section. I know it's got the big Tower of AE weight, but that is such a tome that for me that's a study. And I've got the AOB, but yeah, this is it. Look, it hasn't got the cards in because I've been using it. It's got Tower of Esoterica as well behind there, because it's on one of my little pigeonholes. Because I was like, oh, this is staying out for a bit. It was in amongst my RWS decks in there. It got put in with them. So, but yes, I found it. Oh, now the chat has just jumped. So I don't know where I was. It's gone right to the top with Marilyn saying, hello, Simon and all. Let's see. If I've missed loads of comments and there's something you really wanted me to see, if you could pop them again. I'll go to the ones that are highlighted. Trouble is, Simon, although I've started to sort through my deck, how now do I go about giving them away? Exactly. I mean, there are trade groups. There's Tarot EU Traders Group or something like that. I put a few on there before. But for me, it's about trying to reduce the number now because more decks will keep coming in. So it's about, I would rather perhaps say to somebody, right, I'd like that deck, and for that deck, I'll give you 4 or 5, 2 around the same value, so it's fair. But Stella's Tarot was a very pretty deck, RWS based. I believe you showed it a while ago. The colours are lovely. Stella's Tarot. Well, if it's RWS, it's going to be in either this one, or half of that one, because that's where my RWS. But I can't remember it being called Stella's Tarot. I'll have to look it up. Simon, why don't you add more shelves to your bookcase unit? You could fill more. Yeah, I don't want it to look like it looked before. I want the decks to be able to breathe and have space. I really like how they are because they don't feel crammed in. If I put another shelf in and then started filling that, it will just be a wall of decks again, and then I'll be like, I love your pentacle. I've not seen one quite like that. Oh, I've had this quite a while. I wear it quite often. It is one of my favourite ones. I've got one that's got a black background to it, but I really like this one. Estrella Tarot. I've got that. That's a Marseilles. But anyway, yeah. So, what was I going to mention? I started to say something when I was on about So when I was talking about sitting down like Robin was doing this afternoon, going through each deck. I mean, I didn't have the time over the weekend. It took 3 days to do this, and there was a section, if you saw the video, where I'd got a deck out, and I'm like, look, this is a real dilemma because I love this deck, but I've not used it for over a year. Do I keep it here because I love it, or does it go into the middle room? Or if I've not used it a year, does it go into storage? And I decided with that one, let's meet in the middle and just put it into the middle room. And so that's what I did. And then I remember thinking, if I do this with every deck, I'm going to be here for months. So I then just started to go on instant, picking up a deck and thinking, right, no, that's going into storage. I've not looked at that for a few years, and I can live without that for another couple of years. So anyway, that was kind of how I did it. But there were a few decks that I got to, and I thought, do you know what? I really invested in this deck, and I've hardly used it. And one in particular, now I've spoke about recently, and I've done a video about my Italian decks, and you'll see here this one. Let me just grab it you actually, which is the Perrin. I mean, this whole presentation is beautiful. This is an indie deck, and it's by Giordano Berti. I bought this 7 years ago, 2018. The Perrin Tarot. He does a handwritten letter. So it's got this little note that he puts in. You get these gold lame bags. The deck's not in here because I thought, you know what? I think at the time I thought, oh, this is beautiful, but because they've been hand done, a bit like Il Meneghello decks. I shouldn't. And I mentioned to Robin, because the one behind it, also by Giordano Berti, is the Solabusca. But I did get that one for its historical significance. I can't really read with the Solabusca. It's just so different, isn't it? I have got the one that was done by, what's her name? My Lucky Star, Irene, I think. The Solabusca 2.0, which has keywords and everything on it, and that's fine. So I can scratch that itch. But this deck, I thought, do you know what? Why pay all that money if it sit on a shelf? So I mean, this deck is absolute, and it's quite thick because it's handcrafted. These have that sort of, like they're filled with air. It feels like a hefty deck, but when you shuffle it, it's got a beautiful sound. And when you tap it, if you got like, let's grab this one, the mass market, and you hold that, they have that sound, don't they? Like almost like you're knocking on wood. These feel like they're filled with air. And when you knock on them, just gorgeous. I mean, look at, beautiful. And because they're Italian, they're just exquisite. And when you shuffle them, listen to that sound. Just such a beautiful deck. So the pairing, I'm going to work with during next month. Spoiler for when I get to decks for September. But just so beautiful, and such a shame just to be sitting on a shelf. And I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to bring decks in just for them to sit on a shelf. So that's that. Let's have a look at some more comments. Thank you, Anne. Done a wonderful job. Where's Freddie Mercury? He's in the hall. I'm looking at him now. I can bring him out if you want to have a look at him. He's just there, sitting with his legs crossed on top of a bookshelf. Let's have a look. There's nothing else highlighted, so I think we're okay. So, what's been happening other than bank holiday weekend? Bank holiday weekend decluttering thing. I haven't done a Cuppa Catchroom cards for over a month. I know it's terrible because last week it was Spotlight. The week before I had an event, so I wasn't here. The week before that was when I had no internet, so I did a set of premiere, which was, I think, For the Love of Pips 2 or For the Love of Pips, might have even been the first one. The week before that was the interview with Michael J. Auger. So it's like 5 weeks since I've done a Cuppa catch-up. And there's a deck that came about 5 weeks ago, and I'd ordered it after seeing in the Hermit's Cave Facebook group. Oh, while I've just mentioned Hermit's Cave Facebook group, seriously, guys, we decline, and Sandra's in the chat and she'll confirm, we decline about 90% of requests to join because nobody is answering the questions. And the questions aren't there just to make things difficult. It's there to make sure that everybody's protected, because there are spam accounts. And by asking security questions, a bot cannot answer them. They can and it's 3 questions. And one is just saying why you want to join, you know. And one is a tick box, whether you're a beginner, as in just starting out, whether you've been using tarot for a while, or whether you're a seasoned reader. The other one is just why you want to join. And then the third one is just click to agree with the rules of the group. And it's nothing more than just making sure that everybody that's in a closed group, because not everybody is out of the tarot closet. Some people, you know, it's really important to us that people feel safe in there. And if they're posting there, it's not going to show all their family and friends that they've posted somewhere public, as it does on your timeline. So it's there to protect everyone. But it literally takes 20 seconds just to, you know, select seasoned reader. Why do you want to join the group? To talk tarot. Yes, I agree to the rules. And then we let you in. We don't decline. We give people 24 hours to respond. And then when we do decline, we always click the button that says declined because, and you click the middle one and it says did not agree to the rules. So it then lets them know your membership request has been declined because you haven't agreed to the rules. And then getting that alert, people can then come back and think, oh, I didn't realise, or I overlooked that, because it is easy to overlook it. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention that because it's such a shame, because we get a lot of people that request, but we don't always know if accounts are genuine or what people's reasons are. So it just filters out that for us. So anyway, somebody posted a picture, a tarot card, because when I pull the tile tonight, I then decide what deck I'm going to take that corresponding card from, put it into the Hermit's Cave Facebook group, write a few bits about it, and then everybody shares theirs. Somebody shared an image, and I thought, that's Pixie's artwork on a tarot card, and I've not seen it before. And then I went into the comments, and it wasn't Pixie's artwork, but it's very, very similar. Now, you've probably all seen this deck, but I'd never come across it before. And it's one of those where it's by Luca Decks, but it's called something like traditional RWS, which is very misleading. To call it a traditional RWS tarot cards would make you think that you're getting a traditional. And then I've also seen it called Vintage Tarot, but then lots of decks are called Vintage Tarot. But anyway, it came in this bag that says Luca Decks on them, so they probably have more than one. The backs, when I first saw them, I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I like them, but actually I really like them. So these are the backs. Now, the only issue I've got, I don't know if you can see, but the cards already bowing. I've not used this deck yet, not touched it. I'm not a riffle shuffler, but they're already bowing. So I keep doing that with it. But they are really springy, and they are a pretty good cardstock. Not the best, but when I show you these images, not all of them, but some, yeah, that is so close to Pixie's artwork. So obviously somebody has replicated her art style and done it quite well. So this is the Fool. Anybody come across this? The Magician. It's beautiful matte cardstock, no gloss or anything. It feels like the Blushing Fool type decks, that soft matte. High Priestess, the Empress, Rockstar Tarot, not sure. Looks like a flannel. What was that? Looks like a flannel my father-in-law would have worn. Bummer. Is that the bowing of the cards? This looks really cool. Hello, Ellie. Ellie says she's never seen it. This reminds me of 1920s, 1930s illustration. Cool. Yeah, but it's got that blotch in it. And if Chris is still here, and I think it pisses him off a bit when I keep saying like but my first RWS deck that I got in 2006, it was this kind of, now if we get RWS decks, they seem to be a little bit more, the line work seems to be a little bit more sharper and it doesn't seem as blotchy. But this one reminds me of how my first RWS deck was like. Love this Hermit. Wheel of Fortune is pretty cool. But you see this tree here? Look how that's like Pixie's trees. Do you see what I mean? Justice is 11. But that's a cool Justice card. I know she's not sat or, with the veil curtain behind her. The Hangman is very different. But yeah, I do think to call it a traditional RWS tarot deck is a bit naughty. Look at this Death card. That's different, isn't it? But it has a Thompson Lang vibe. Interesting. Very much Pixie's art style. Yeah, and I can't remember which card it was now, because like I said, it was about 5 weeks ago. But I looked at it and I thought, how come I've never seen this version of whatever it was from Pixie? And it really got me. Oh, this devil is brilliant. Look at that for the devil card. Star. Temperance card is beautiful. Look at the close-up of the dogs. Look how tiny the crayfish is. The naked baby on a horse has put a dress on. You'll be pleased to know. Especially the landscape looks like Pixie's. Hi, Thace. Yeah, Adam agrees. Epic devil. Hello, Will. Good to see you. Oh, just bought the last Perrin Tarot from Tarot Arts. Yeah, and that's something else, because I'm supposed to be doing. I'll carry on showing the cards as I talk. But what I will say is, this is very Christian for the Judgment card, so that might be off-putting for some people. I'd ordered some decks. One was a package from America with 3 decks in it, and that was ordered over 2 weeks ago. Now, when this little beauty arrived the other day, this was ordered last Saturday, a week today, and it was bank holiday weekend. I know that doesn't apply in the States, but it was still a weekend, and it arrived on Thursday from California. But the other one still hasn't arrived, and I've had no tracking number or anything. It's Daniel Martin Diaz. So I've emailed this morning, say, look, has this been dispatched? Have you got a tracking number? And I've had nothing back yet, but there's a time difference with California, so I'm not going to be too harsh there. But it's going to delay my starting my September decks. Why am I mentioning this? Oh yeah, and there's another one that has got lost somewhere because when I showed the Italian decks video, and I showed Soprafina by Il Manighello, I showed the Ancient Italian, and I showed Classic Tarot, and did a side-by-side. And I was saying there that I love the Vachetta, as everybody knows, but the mass market version of that was Tarot of the Master, and I just didn't like it with all those languages on it, and I missed out on the Anima Antica because I didn't know it was a thing. And a lovely subscriber called Audrey said, do you know there is actually another mass market deck available of that, but it's Italian and it's only sold from Italy. That's the one, because I want to have a mass market version of these beautiful decks. So going back to the Perrin, this is, bear with me, ADD brain and all that. Going back to the Perrin, I discovered that, even though I'm going to use it anyway because I don't want it just sitting on a shelf, but to throw in a bag and that sort of thing, I prefer mass market because they are expensive. That US Games had a Perrin Tarot, but it's not on eBay. It's not, I've searched for it everywhere, and it's like it's not on Eclectic Tarot, which lists like every deck. I've gone to Google. The only place, so there's no shop selling it, but there are YouTube videos of it. So I know it was in existence. But I'm like, it's so annoying that decks go out of print, especially like US Games decks. So when you mentioned just getting the last copy of the Perrin, that's great. But it probably wouldn't be the US Games one. Okay, so our wands of our ace. And again, following the RWS theme, you'd hope, wouldn't you, with them calling it the traditional RWS tarot. I'll go a little bit faster through these. Love the colours. We've even got purples, look. How often do you see purple in these old decks? RWS ones anyway. It's interesting 7, isn't it? And the 8 of wands, they're not flying through the air, they've landed. Don't forget, if you need to catch my attention, either caps or tag me. She looked like our late queen for a minute, but could be a female page. But, and look how beautiful. She's like a fairy tale queen, isn't she? Trish, I don't think there are anymore. There was a bit of controversy because apparently there was going to be, and then I think Mark Ryan put an update that there wouldn't be any afterwards, and people were a little bit miffed. I don't think it is an AI deck, Kristen, because it's been around for a few years. I know AI's been around for a few years now, but in terms of tarot and tarot creation of decks, I think we're safe to say anything that's older than 3 years probably isn't. And this has been around for some time. But I could be wrong. Could have been very early. Look at that, 6 of Cups. It's lovely, isn't it? You thought it looked like Queen Elizabeth. Beautiful. Yeah, so I like it because it reminds me of Pixie's artwork. I like the cardstock. And it's just, I don't know, it's something a little bit different. But this is sat on my desk for 5 weeks, untouched, because I thought I'll show that in a cuppa. And not been able to do one for so long. Great too. She doesn't have the arms folded. They're outwards, aren't they? This is quite a powerful Five of Swords as well. I love how they're all stood up in the boat. Each of the 78s in the antique-looking tarot deck has been meticulously designed using digital drawing tools. Oh, is this from a website? And Photoshop. The modern approach allows for crisp, detailed art. I wouldn't say this is crisp. Work that blends the traditional look of Rider-Waite-Smith with old world, rustic aesthetic. Yeah, I quite like it. I like tarot decks that have, even though it's modern, but it's got a historical feel to it. That's my vibe at the minute. That's my jam, is historical decks. Loving them. But that said, you know, Meraki came in last weekend, and that is just so beautiful. So swings and roundabouts. And at some point in the future, Meraki will be a historical deck. I love the Three of Pentacles. Look at that. So what's people's thoughts? Oh, barefoot in the snow, look. Yay or nay to the deck? Cool 8. I like these kind of close-up perspectives. Beautiful Queen. The Queens are really beautiful. Really beautiful. Really beautiful in this deck, aren't they? Definitely yay. Love the drawings. Did you show the backs? I did, because people were saying it was like a check shirt. That's the backs. At first, when I saw them, I was like, ooh, I don't know about those backs. Then when I got them, I thought, actually, they're quite cool. Quite like those backs. I'm not going to edge it, I don't think. I mean, I could edge it in like a vintagey, but they're kind of like a well-worn, used deck. I'm missing the comments because they're jumping in clumps on EV Mux. It's really annoying. I think it might be a thing that's happening right across the board, because Becca said that the StreamYard was doing that as well. I'm getting like 4 comments together, and then the all 4 disappear and another 4 come instead of it scrolling, which is annoying. Definitely love the drawings. Yay, I like it, which is surprising. Oh, hello, Jamie. Nice to see you. This deck has such a great vibe and energy. Love the colours. It's a yay, but what's the name of the deck? It's Traditional RWS Tarot. It's on Etsy. It's a price. It's $47. So I think that worked out about £39 for us. But then I've got shipping on top of that as well. keeping the pulp comic strip book. Yes, I like the deck, says Forever. I very nearly didn't, says Cheryl. Very nearly didn't like it, or Trisha likes it. Alejandro Rodriguez Roseanne is working on a Marseille deck in Pixie's art style. It looks amazing. Oh my gosh. I wonder if he's going to have it published by Artisan Tarot again. Or is it going mass market? Because he did the feathers, didn't he? As well. Was that with US Games? I've got his RWS, his Marseille weight deck. That's brilliant. It just sold out on Etsy. I was too slow, sold out. I know Cheryl saying I had FOMO. I don't hate it, but I don't need it. That's a strange way to look at it. Don't hate it, but I don't need it. No. And you know, it will never take the place of Pixie's artwork, but I just think it's one of those decks that I'll pick up from time to time and do some readings with it, and just it will give me Pixie vibes, but the cards have a different perspective to them. It's just annoying me that it's bowed so badly. If you trim the gilding of the Shadowland Tarot, the warp in the card disappears. Did you see Ambiguities is 40% off? Wow, I've got Ambiguities. Ambiguities. I can't say it now. Saying there's some great cards, but I don't think I'd be in a rush overall. God, the chat's moving really fast, isn't it? Not for 40 odd smackaroons. I got the last one again. Simon is killing my man. You got the last one of this, did you? I've still got another 2 decks to share, but no. I'm just the things that have come in really, other than obviously Cheryl's decks. I'm still working through the walkthrough videos of, and we showed them last week. But these are things that have come in. So this one has come from France. Do you remember Mary Packard and how Mary Packard did the golden tarot in that big box? That's gone into a tub. Vasco, who I just said to him, you know, I'm gonna is great, and he's got a couple of videos up now. I think about 3 or 4. But he was the guy who put me onto Pippa. That's the name, by the way. Whoever suggested Pippa, because we couldn't call it basic tarot. This is the one I showed when I did For Love of Pips 2. Love this deck. Really beautiful. He was the one that showed this, and I went on such a hunt to try and get it. Finally got it on eBay. But he then showed a Marseille deck. And it's in French, but that's fine. I want the cards. But it comes in this huge set. Tarot de Marseille. And you can see it's Mary Packard. It's all in French, but you know, I've got Google Translate, so I did read the back. But you get a hardback book as well. Also, it also in French. But the deck is a Pierre Madnet, and the cards are really large. This is the box for it. These are the backs, which is just stunning. I don't know if anybody's seen this or come across it. But because I'm like really enjoying Pips at the moment, I thought, let's give it a go. Look at these cards. Look how gorgeous they are. So let's grab Gosh, I end up getting in such a kerfuffle. My little template that represents a standard tarot size card. This is how big they are. But all that aside, I think they're really beautiful. I know not everybody is a Marseille lover, but the colours are really nice. Even the backs are gorgeous. Do you know, the cardstock is lovely. Really nice cardstock. They are a little bit glossy, not hugely glossy. You know, that sort of silky sheen that you get to them. But yeah, it's well shuffled because I've done a couple of 3 card spreads. The issue you've got is, you know, if you're doing a big spread, then that's not really that practical. But let's show you. There's our Queen of Batons. Yeah, so I just didn't know it was a thing. These 2 kings look so similar, the coins and cups king. But as I said, it's a matinee. They have lovely faces. Let's show a couple of the images. That's beautiful, isn't it? And it's really soft, the colour palette, because the one thing that I'm not going to say I don't like, because I appreciate all tarot decks, but the one thing about some TDMs is that stark white background. And then when you get, and I think that's why I love like Tarot des Arcs so much, but when you get like a parchment colour in the background, it gives it that vintage feel. That blue is beautiful. There's our magician card. We're all on about the Rockstar Tarot, and I'm not quite sure why. I mean, look at the greens, just really lovely. There's our Hermit and our Fool. So yeah, so this was something, and again, it wasn't expensive, and I think it came in only a few days. I think it was about £22, something like that, which is brilliant. But you'd have to put in Tarot Marseille, Mary Packard into Google, and it would bring up the sellers. I just ordered Tarot des Arcs after resting for ages. Is it back? That went out of print because she passed away, sadly, the creator. So I didn't even realise it was back. Because lots of people are saying they wish they could still get it. Or did you get it off like eBay? So yeah, anyway, really, really pleased that I saw this deck that when Vasco showed it, because I was like, wow, that's really nice. So let's pop that back over there. It lives there on my desk. Where are we up to? Chris saying I hate it. I don't hate it, but I don't need it. Just skimming through, just see if there's anything. Oh, Sissy has a huge Marseille. Have you showed it? Be interesting to see if you have. Hear your thoughts about it. Who said call it Pippa? I can't remember. Somebody in the chat. I did it as a premiere. Last weekend, and somebody suggested then in the chat. Oh my God, stop with these enormous packs. How much self-space? Yeah, well, that's not living in that box. That's living here on my desk. So I have a similar book in English. I did wonder if there was a Mary Packard book on Marseille, because that's all you would need, really, isn't it? I mean, if I find that, but this is so nice though, it's really well put together, magnetic box, really nice. But if I found that that's too much, then I don't need to keep it. It's in another language. The book's in another language. For me, it's about those cards, so it could go. Looks like my Dodal, only huge. Alan, you can't win. What's happening? Sandra's saying, sorry, Simon, but I don't know why. I've lost the thread. You know, as sometimes you step away for too long and then you come back to your comments, you're like, I don't know what people are saying to me. Deso Arcs is still on Printer Studio. Oh, it's moved there, has it? That's good. That's good, because that's print on demand, isn't it? Mary Packard, Madonnet. It was me who said call it Pippa. Oh, cool. They are, Rachel. You won the competition. That's great. That's great that Tarot Deso Arts is back, because a lot of people ask about that deck, and now I can tell them, Print Studios, knock yourself out, or knock one of them out. Hello, Gerald. Nice to see you. And I'm glad I'm not looking at these decks whilst you've been showing them. They are great decks. Okay, so the final deck that's came in today, and this was the deck that I traded a couple of decks for with our Sandra, and she showed it this week, so I won't go through it in any detail. But as I said, she also sent me this beautiful, lovely polished piece of malachite. Link above to Tarot Deso Arcs. Brilliant. Okay. So if you didn't see Sandra, just chucked that on the floor. Not the deck, a pen. If you didn't see Sandra's video, it was this one. Parrot Tarot deck. Parrot Tarot deck. What? Parrot Tarot deck. God, can you imagine trying to say that 5 times drunk? Because I watch all of Sandra's videos, obviously, but when I saw it, I thought, oh no, a deck of parrots, anything worse. But even though there are a couple of parrots on the box, it's not a deck of parrots. You'll see that parrot is spelled differently because it's a surname, and it's a mother and son, Margaret and Tom Parrot, who created this deck. I don't agree with what's written on the back. They're talking about, the images have been changed so that they're less, what's the word they use? Violent and graphic images. I don't think the RWS deck is violent and graphic. And I don't really think they've changed the images in this enough for it to be that different. That said, they also refer to it as a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And I wouldn't agree with that either. This is a mix of traditions deck. It's very heavily Thoth influenced on the minors, and it's an 82 card deck because there are 5 courts, because they put an additional court card into each suit called mentors. I wouldn't say it's RWS, no, not at all. But when Sandra started showing it, I was like, oh, I really like this. So I'd got my laptop watching Sandra and my phone searching for this deck just to see if I could get it from anywhere. And then I heard Sandra says, yeah, I'm going to let this deck go. So I was straight on the blower, messaging saying, I really like that deck. If you do want to let it go, then I'm happy to trade. And she was like, yeah, I'm not keeping it. So yeah. So it comes in this odd pyramid style bath. And you get a fold out with information. It doesn't go into the creator's thought process or anything like that. It does say Parrot Tarot deck, but it just says, it's very generic. Tarot reading usually involves 2 persons, a querent, blah blah blah, and then it gives you a spread, and then it goes into the card meanings. But it's still called, I think Sandra said this version was from 1992. Is that right? I really hate that box. I've yet to decide whether I'll keep this somewhere because it's a 1992 deck. So we're talking, 33 years now, aren't we? 33 years. But it does come in its own little tuck box as well. On the blower, are you even turning that into a double entendre? Chris. Box folds down, which I like. When you've got a tuck box, you've got the little cutout for the thumb, so it does make it very easy to get the cards out. I really like the cardstock. Cardstock is really nice. It's like a US Games cardstock that you'd get now. Hello, Twixt. Because some are fakes. Yes, 1992. These are the backs. You see the 2 parrots. So they are going into but you'll see like a parrot feather. Then after that, there might be the odd parrot if there's a bird in the sky or something. But it's not a parrot tarot. The box is a bit, let's put that up actually. Oh, and it jumped. You have to catch it really quick. The box is a bit of 70s throwback design in the 90s, and I love it. Would have hated it when I worked in bookselling. Yeah, because it's like, I'm thinking it's going to go here, but I would probably have to lay it flat like that perhaps, which is fine. In fact, I quite like that because it won't stand up on its own unless it's propped in front of something, and then I'm starting to put decks in front of things again, aren't I? Tuck boxes can be annoying. Chris, you're going to the principal's office. He spends more time sat outside that principal's office than a little. I'm not, ha ha ha. I'm just laughing at the phrase, not a word I've ever used. I assume the blower is the phone. Oh, don't play innocent. Mind you, you're a millennial, aren't you? So maybe I mean, there's the dog and whistle as well in there, which is but I don't. Why is it dog and whistle? Because Cockney needs to rhyme. Dog. It's not dog and whistle. Dog and bone phone. Dog and whistle. Dog and bone phone. Is that one? But yeah, we always. When I was a kid, I guess when you was a kid, you had phones then in the house. But it was always, she's on the blower again. Always on the blower. So, I think blower comes from the 1930s Hollywood films. I am innocent. Not the principal's office. It's dog and bone phone. Yeah. I really want the full size. Of what, Tammy Pie? Of which? Full size of what? I also hate top boxes. Must be before my time. We believe you. So yeah, and the cardstock is really nice. Again, really love the colours of this deck. It's quirky. They use this space at the bottom where the title is to put lots of esoterical symbols, associations. Take or leave what you want with that, really, because they also put the number in the image, and it is what it is. But I just think it is so quirky and unusual. The soft colours reminds me a little bit of Gill Tarot, that sort of pastels. Although the artwork isn't as, I'm not going to say it isn't as artistic. One of the things I really like about this is the artwork is quite innocent. It's almost childlike, and I really like that. You know, you don't have to be Raphael to be able to create art. There's a charm and innocence to it, which is really lovely. Strength is 8. Love this hermit. Look at the little dogs. I'm still stuck on Chris's genuinely must be before my time, so he didn't move. My auntie knew I was gay, and she'd sometimes called gays friends of Dorothy. Oh yeah, that's quite a it's not to do with the film. There's a film coming out called Friend of Dorothy. I think it's coming out in September. Miriam Margolyes is in it. Actually, it was a woman called Dorothy who used to run a guest house, I think in San Francisco, but I could be wrong. And a lot of gay people would go and board with Dorothy. And so there was known as the Friends of Dorothy. I think because the name Dorothy, everybody assumes Wizard of Oz, but yeah, it's nothing to do with Wizard of Oz. I love the phrase "friend of Dorothy." One of my other favourite old-fashioned euphemisms: uphill gardener. My God, can't believe I just read that out aloud. Well, this makes me feel young again. You've got no reason to feel old, Chris. Yeah, so do you see what I mean? It's quite, I love the artwork. It's really nice. Death card, look at him. Oh, which way do I go? There we go. Temperance. Yeah, and I love Miriam Margolyes. So I saw her being interviewed the other day, and she was saying, I've done a film. She hasn't done a film for a while. You know, people often associate her with Harry Potter, but I've not seen her in that. But I first seen her in the 80s in Lives and Loves of a She-Devil. She was great. But she's in the film, the new film, A Friend of Dorothy. Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it, Sandra? You know, one person's trash is another person's treasure. And I love the fact that sometimes there's decks. I love it when you come here and look through my decks that I'm like, I just don't feel it, and you do. And that's what's great, isn't it? So they also have, when you get to the minors, you get a playing card association there. So we have our our Ace of Swords. And then you get a keyword, like with Thoth. So we have peace, sorrow, Three of Swords, sorrow. And when I saw these, I was like, oh, wow, yes, love it. Science. I love this has playing card symbols, right? So would you say this is RWS? We have cruelty, ruin. The art reminds me of Nimue Tarot. Not heard of that one. Nimue. Did this last week. All I was doing is showing a comment. I might have to try and find another streaming service. I can't keep being thrown out. Let me get the comments back up. Uh-oh, I'm back. Panic not. How on earth is this described as an RWS? Nimue. I'll have to look that up. I won't show that one because it's got nudity, and yeah, so is that one. Especially after I got a strike. I did appeal it and I won, so that was good. And then they put the video back up. It was Tower of the Goddesses, and they're very stern, you know, saying we're demonetizing. Well, I don't monetize anyway, so that's by the by. But they took it down, and if you continue to violate, your channel is at risk, and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, and then I appealed it, and I was like, oh yeah, nothing to worry about. Completion. Strife. I love it. Yeah, it just has that thothy feel to it, doesn't it? Minue. Wow, that looks nothing like it's spelled. Art style reminds me of the Greenwood Tarot. Look at that. Beautiful. Love it. What's the issue? Boobs. Think so. Well, to be fair, there was one card in there. I think it might have been the Lovers, which was a bit. It could be looked at as being sexually explicit. But at the same time, I thought, well, it's no more sexually explicit than perhaps, what's it called? Druidcraft. And how many people have shown that? I mean, the internet's alive with walkthroughs of druid craft. Let's have a look at a few more. So yeah, really lovely. So thank you, Sandra, for the trade. This one really reminds me of Thoth. There's quite a bit of nudity, actually. Look. How cute. Yes, alchemical tarot, exactly. Prudence. So this is the additional card. So you get Mentor of Discs. Then you get your Prince of Disc, your Princess of Discs, Queen of Discs, and King of Discs. So you get 5 courts. There's not many erotic decks. Well, do you know, I've shown on my channel, Eros. I mean, if you're going to get a strike for anything, it would be that, wouldn't it? Benny Hill's campish. Wait until the mass market Lubanco walkthrough start coming out. Oh my gosh. Didn't know you had it, Gerald. What's Gerald got? I have that deck sitting next to me. It makes me laugh. Tarorama. Not sure what that is. So yeah, so that is going to live there on that shelf. Once I've finished working with it for a bit. So, any final questions? We're coming up to almost the hour and a half. But just for a couple of minutes, if anybody's got anything they want to ask or discuss. Graphic violence. The devil card in many decks tends to be quite sexual, and no one. There's a myriad of tarot decks, isn't there, that can be classed as sexually graphic, or explicit. But God, I think it was about 2019 time, we all had to change. In the tarot community, we all had to change our YouTube settings to set it to say that every video would not be for kids. So if you joined after them, I think now every video you have to select before you upload that it's not for kids. But I've got mine that every video I put up is not for kids. That the content on the channel, even though, you know, I don't think we should protect children from tarot, don't get me wrong, but it's an adult content channel. So why they then get the knickers in the twist about artwork when you would go into any art gallery, you know, anywhere in any country and see the naked form, and they just get the knickers in a twist about it. And then, like somebody said, the stuff that you then see online and on YouTube, and you think, hold on a minute, you took down my video for showing a painting, because that's what the goddess tarot is, tarot goddesses, paintings of naked human beings. Yeah, I've just clicked onto this video and seen the most horrific gratuitous violence. And there it is for everyone to see. Internalized Puritanism. I like to see modern sexual erotic tarot decks that's done well. Sensual rather than comical. Yeah. I really miss Tarathon. Do you see yourself hosting another in the future? I almost considered bringing it back this year. I toyed with it. I think I might have spoke to you about it, Sandra, when we went away in May. It always used to be in May. And then I thought, well, I've got some time off in August because it's got to be when I'm off work. And I thought maybe I'll bring it back for August. And then for whatever reason, it didn't happen. But I don't have time off now until next year anyway. But I don't know if some things are best left where they were. Sometimes you can try and recreate something and it's never the same. Yes, you did. I thought I did. And I was in two minds, weren't I? I was looking at the pros and cons. I mean, it is such a headache to organise. But it's also really rewarding when it's done. Yeah. And it's a headache because you get it all 24 channels finally agreed to their time slot, but certain people want certain time slots. So then you get your rota of everything, and then you'll produce all the Canva stuff, all the advertisements, it all goes out, and then people will be like, I can't do it now. And then you've got to fill that gap because the whole idea of Tarathon is it's 24 hours continual live streaming of tarot knowledge. So, and then it's such a headache because, yeah, it just is. But I don't know. What I might do at the start of the year, around January time, because also we used to do it in May and we were planning it and getting it ready from February. I might put a poll out just to see if there is still an appetite for it. A, from subscribers who want to see it, and B, from content creators who are proficient at going live, because that was the other thing. We did have 1 year where people would promise, they'll say, look, I've not done a live yet, but I will get practicing before Tarathon. And we was like, okay. And then they'd never done a live, and they just, people were sat there and it was all going Pete Tong. So it was like, and then the last year we did have to say, Jen kind of took the reins then, Jen Phoenix, because that was when my mum started to get really ill, and the pressure of trying to do Tarathon, visit my mum in hospital and all that sort of stuff. I was like, I need to reach out and ask somebody to help. And Jen was great and kind of took the reins at the 11th hour. But she had to say, look, if you've not gone live previously, then maybe next year, because this needs to kind of be seamless. Thanks for helping me spend my money today. My next vlog is next Saturday. So that's what I was going to come on to, Lily Rose. Thank you for the reminder. I'm not here next Saturday because I'm on a outing. So I will be vlogging. I'll do it. Tarathon with newbies. Yeah, I'll be vlogging, so something will go up next Saturday night once I'm back. Not going far, but it's a place I've not been to for about 20 years, and there's a couple of witchy shops as well there. So I spy the Guild Tarot on your shelves. Love that show. Yeah, Guild Tarot is great. I go live on TikTok, never tried it on YouTube. Didn't know you. Well, I've just dipped my toes into TikTok, but I keep forgetting. Like, I did all these shows. I thought I could have done a TikTok about this. God, where's the light? I can hardly see that. Ah, we have the Six of Cups. Oh, do you know? Yeah, I'm just going to say it anyway. I was thinking, I've towards the end of this week, and I'm sure we're all in the same boat. The world feels really heavy right now, doesn't it? And I know there's lots of stuff happening in the US, but also there's lots of stuff happening in the UK at the moment as well, which is really worrying, really concerning. There's been this whole thing about flags. And for me, the flag is being weaponized and it's been hijacked. It's not about pride, it's about prejudice. And there's lots, and there's this surgence of hatred. And it's funny this card's come up because don't we just long sometimes to go back to a time where, yes, I mean, at school there was fallouts in the playground and whose side you on and all that, but there was a period of innocence and naivety. And I think sometimes it's really important that we get in touch with our inner child more. And as kids, you know, if you had a disagreement, you'd have a fallout and there'd be with your mates, whose side are you on? You're on my side of this. But within hours, you're back best friends again, weren't you? And as much as there's an onslaught and an assault on negativity and crap and seeing people's darker sides coming out, this afternoon I was thinking, what can we do? How can we turn this tide? And I could get angry and frustrated and vent, but then meeting anger with anger creates more anger. Meeting hostile people with hostility creates more hostility. And I think sometimes, you know, when we go to that place where our inner child is and we show love and compassion in the face of hostility, I believe what you put out basically is what comes back, is what I'm trying to say. And it's really difficult. It's really difficult because to show love and kindness to counteract crap can really test you. And I don't know, I've gone down this rabbit hole, but I just saw this card and I thought, you know, this reminds me of what I was thinking today about how life at one point was seeing wonder and magic and experiencing the world from very innocent eyes, where our souls and our spirits hadn't been necessarily as heavily burdened. So, yeah, my message, if you like, for the week is when we're confronted with hostility, with anger, with crap, we have to remember as well that a lot of people have been brainwashed, a lot of people are hoodwinked, a lot of people have internalized othering, and their world is affected by what they're being fed, is the reason for that. Try and show love, try and show kindness, and try and counter that hostility and that anger with love and compassion, because you don't know, that could, what we put out, you know, mind and body interconnected, self and the environment is interconnected. So if we're the beacons, then it will go out there, and there needs to be more of us doing this than the surge that we're seeing of hatred. Okay, anyway, thank you for being here. Sorry it took that turn at the end. But, you know, that's the card sometimes. It gets you to confront things, and it gets you to think things through, and that's what it's all about. So have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Thank you for being here today. It's been lovely to hang out with you and do a regular catch-up. It's been a while, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. Just wanted to check that is 2 weeks. Today's the 29th, isn't it? I'm away on the 6th. Now I'm back on the 13th for a regular one, and we've got Spotlight on the 20th. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here, and until next time, go in peace. Namaste, and blessed be.